I appreciate the opportunity to speak to young people and some of the older people with the essence on fatherhood. We know that hood means to protect. The hood on our automobile protect the important parts, the engines, computers. So as fathers celebrating fatherhood, that means that you have taken on the responsibility of protecting the most important thing in life, family. There's a passage in the New Testament that states, when I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. When I became a man, I put away childish things. Many of us held on to childish things. As a young man, I enjoyed reading Playboy magazine, and I had to give up Playboy when I became a father, because my children, I could sit on my lap and read and watch pictures and ask questions. I had to give up the Playboy magazine. So that's one of the things, when you become a man, you need to start giving them up. Once you become a father, you give up those things. Many of us, and I'm talking young and older men, many of us, as young men, like to go into the bar, stop at the bar on the way home, and have a few drinks and talk with the boys. When we became fathers, we had to give up those things and go home and help with the homework and talk to the children. As a father, I've tried to copy and improve on the things that my father did. My father was a farmer, hardworking, 12, 13 hours a day, 5, 6 days a week. But he could always manage to get home to the dinner table, and he could sit and he could discuss things with the family, especially with the children. Now, there was something about my father that I remember. He never went to church during the summer months. I learned later in life that the reason for that was he only had one suit, and it was a woolen suit he could only wear during the winter months. That means that father was sacrificing. Fatherhood means that to give up certain things. And my father sacrificed going to church so that the children could go to church. Just maybe one day, you will need to make sacrifices. One day, you are going to take care of the elderly. Now, I've had experience being an elder. This summer in June, I went away on vacation, and I had to cut my vacation short and come back home because of illness. Now, the children that I raised, I had taught them and trained them, and I did for them, I made sacrifices. Now, when I came home ill, actually, it was my nephew that came to my rescue first. That was my niece's husband. Now, the story of my niece. My niece and my youngest daughter are the same age. And my niece lost her father when they were about 5, 6 years old. And she took it pretty hard. She had lost her father. My daughter said to her, "That's okay. You can share my father." And from that day forward, she calls me Daddy. preached about and told them, let's go see about that. Many of us, in a few years, we're going to be to a point where somebody's going to have to come and see about us. Okay, I have authored, we mentioned that I've authored 6 books. They are family books. We stress God, family, and community. When we published the first book, Arousing Awareness of the Plight of Family Service, the Get Right campaign emerged. Do the right thing, make the right move, convey the right message. The overall theme is, it takes a village to raise a child, and it's time to reclaim the village. It is not about me or our company. Where there's money to be made, let the village benefit. We have to have a successful village. Everyone has to get involved. Parents, teachers, administrators, law enforcement, the mayor, everybody has to get started. And the fathers have to start to make take their rightful place. Fathers have to take their rightful place. Now, when I was asked to come here, my daughter says to me, Dad, don't get up there and start talking about money. Nobody wants to sit for 10, 15, 20 minutes to hear you talk about money. And I said to her that if you're going to be a father, you're going to need some money. Father, we're not here just to talk about money. Everybody needs a job. Job is important, but do not stop there at just having a job. You need to do something besides job. You can't depend solely on job. Job might end today, tomorrow, Monday morning. You may not have that job. So there are other things that we need to do to earn money to take care of that family. Now, the first thing on my list, as I ride around my city, I don't know about East Orange, I just got here. I see houses, most of our houses are close to the sidewalk, and I see grass growing up between the sidewalk and the house, and streets that need cleaning. And first thing on my list is to cut grass and clean. Now, a young man or young woman, all you need to do is a lawnmower, a weed whacker, a broom, and a dustpan, and you have yourself a job. You have yourself a profession. That is professional. Now, I heard someone say a few weeks ago that they didn't want to work in a factory because they were too pretty to stack boxes. Now, maybe some of us are too pretty to cut grass or to sweep sidewalks and do things for, most of the time, the elderly or people who are working hard every day and need somebody to do these things around the house. Now, the other thing is, when I was a younger man, there was a young man, teenager, who would come up and down the block washing cars. He would wash your car. All he needed was a pail, some rags, and a brush. And he would use your water, and he would wash your car, and he would do it cheaper than the car wash. The other thing, see, most of these things, most of us don't want to do because we think it's below us to do. Now, there's a man in Jersey City. He stands on the corner of Communipaw Avenue and Martin Luther King Drive, and every morning you pass there, you can get the Jersey Journal paper because he is there without fail. I don't know how much money he makes, but I know he earns money by selling newspapers. Now, there are other professions. My barber, for instance, is a school teacher, but he cut hair on Saturday and sometimes in the afternoon. So there's nothing wrong with having a second profession. I will talk about my second profession in a minute, but there are also things that we need to learn to do besides go to school, get a good education, and get a good job. Carpentry, I understand some of the schools offer carpentry, electrician, plumbing, mason, mechanics, painting. All of these are professions that we can learn. Even if we never use them, we could always use them around home. Now, my other profession is I worked on a job. I had the job, and a young lady said to me, "Why don't you take the real estate exam and become a real estate salesperson?" And I said to her, "I have a good job, and I don't need another one." And she said, "I have a good job too, but I sell real estate part-time." Now, this was in 1976. I sold real estate for 30-odd years. And right now, anyone who wants to buy real estate, I can be a referral agent without doing anything except to fill out a form and turn it in. So I say to you today that real estate is a good profession. You can make a good living. I had many jobs since I went into real estate, but I was never out of work because I had the real estate profession. So I would say to you today, men, young men, older men, find another profession besides the job. Everyone should have one. Everyone should get the best job that they can. But let's not stop there. Thank you very much for your time.